Hey guys, Ricky Martin here from RickyMartinTheSecurityGuy.com. Um, has been a while since I posted anything. I kind of took a little break to work on some other stuff, but I'm back here with another certification for you guys. So today, actually, I just finished writing the CYSA Plus uh, CS0-002, which is a newer version of that exam. I was actually doing it as part of my coursework for my degree with WGU. They recently just switched over from one of the courses doing the EC Council certification to the CompTIA CYSA Plus. Um, so this one I prepared for just about 2 weeks. I took to prepare for this one. Didn't use a whole lot of material. Basically used the Cert Master version that's provided through WGU through their course material. Just use that going through the different modules, doing the practice tests. Didn't really read any additional material, but let me just kind of caveat that I have been working in the industry for almost 20 years and have been working in security for probably the last 7 or 8 years. So a lot of material is familiar to me. And based off some of the reading and research I did, there's a lot of overlap between Security Plus, CISSP, and the CYSA. So given that I already have Security Plus, CISSP, Network Plus, A Plus, all of those, it gives me a little bit more of a head start going into these types of exams just because I have that background. So definitely, if you're preparing for it, you definitely want to make sure you understand networking concepts and understand hardware going into this because as I'll get into in a minute, a lot of the questions that I came across and a lot of the material that it talks about is about reviewing logs and understanding logs and different tools, and especially from a security analyst perspective, knowing how to read those logs and what to make out of them. So to kind of recap, the exam itself is, it says it's, according to the documentation, it's about 85 questions is the maximum. I got about 70 questions. The passing score is 750, so I passed. They cover 5 domains. So the first one being threat and vulnerability management. So that's really talking about different data intelligence, threat landscapes, different attacks. So understanding all that, those concepts, MITRE ATT&CK framework, kill chain, all of those come into play. And then the second module or second area is software and system security. So understanding, cloud versus on-prem, physical security versus, the different security concepts, deterrent versus physical versus technical and managerial, those kind of things. Those do come into play as well. The third area that they cover on the exam is security operations and monitoring. So this is where things like SIM and logging and vulnerability management and scanning tools all come into play. So definitely brush up on understanding the different commands, tools that you might use, things like Nmap, and wireless cracking tools, those kind of things. Because I did see some questions on the outputs of some of those and how to understand the logs that you get or the results that you get back and what to make out of them. So definitely understanding how to interpret them is going to be key. So the fourth area is being incident response. So this is where, as the exam is geared towards a security analyst, this is typically going to be what part of your role is responding to incidents. So understanding, the steps, the process around incident response, forensics to a certain degree, understanding the forensics piece of it. I didn't get too much into the weeds as far as questions around specific forensics tools, but there were some questions, you know, using different tools. What would the commands be? What would you do? What steps would you do? Those kind of things. Then the last one is compliance and assessment. So that's where, you know, meeting regulations, compliance, and I think this is where, you know, my experience with CISSP and Security Plus kind of came into play, because there's a lot, you know, CISSP is very heavy on understanding, you know, regulations, compliance from a management perspective, not so much from, you know, a hands-on technical point of view. So those were really the kind of key areas I would say you want to focus in on when preparing for the exam. As I said, I took the exam in about 2 weeks. Probably, I would say, a couple hours every day, just kind of review the material over those 2 weeks. I probably would have scheduled the exam sooner, but even though I was doing it remotely from home, online, there wasn't a good availability, at least during the times I wanted to take it. So that's why I had to kind of push it out a couple more days to take the exam. But definitely, it is a tough exam, I would say, especially if you don't have the experience in the field. You definitely want to know the different tools inside out, be familiar and comfortable reading logs, interpreting logs, understanding correlation between events and that kind of thing is definitely going to be useful and beneficial going into the exam, depending on the type of questions you get. Like I said, you know, there's scenario-based questions, there's multiple choice. I got a few, you know, a couple scenario-based questions, mostly multiple choice, but definitely understanding the concepts going in is going to be crucial. I know some people have used other materials to prepare courses and things online. I know Udemy comes up and Pluralsight. Like I said, I didn't use any of those. I just used the basic material that was provided through WGU for the Cert Master CompTIA. And to be fair, I think it was a stripped down version, because I know I've used Cert Master going back a few years when I did my Security Plus initially, and it had a little bit more functionality to it, given that it's a version that's been used for WGU. May not have the full functionality, so that may be something you may want to consider if you're you know, in WGU and taking the courses and have a background. It may be good enough for you. If you're new to the field, you may want to supplement that with additional materials, other books or resources online. I've definitely heard, you know, good things about some of the Udemy courses that cover CYSA. Like I said, there's not a whole lot around the newer version. It just came out a couple months ago, I believe. So that's kind of the hard part is it's new territory, right? So that's kind of it. Just wrapping things up. Like I said, appreciate you guys taking the time to look at the video. As I said, you know, knocked out another one. Took a couple weeks to prepare for it. Looking to do a couple more courses over the next couple months, and there should be a couple more certs in there, so I'll keep you posted as I prepare for those and how they go. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time, and definitely make sure you subscribe and check out the material, and have a great time, and see you at the next video.